Want to talk about relevant topics that you're talking about at home as well. And so I thought, just to get to know people a little bit better, that we would delve into the issue of faith and pop culture. And so, as we see, many celebrities are out there, and we've heard of certain celebrities that have professed a faith in Jesus, but then we might see them, swearing or on stage half naked, on Twitter, maybe doing some questionable things. Do we judge these people? Do we welcome them? What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I learned at least one thing working in Hollywood, and that is you either create culture or you reflect culture. And that's one of the most powerful things about this program. I mean, this is the longest running television program in Canada. Every single day, this program is creating culture. And whether Christians struggle with hypocrisy or don't, whether they're in or whether they're out, this is a light to them. And so, I think the context of 100 Huntley Street speaks to that. I don't know what John knows about pop culture, though.
Wow, ow.
Well,
John.
I think he was saying that you're old.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people call me Pop, that's for sure. I think, Maggie, the biggest thing that we need to do is try to love everyone and just try to accept where they are on the journey. Where would any of us be before the grace of God? And so my faith is not shaken if I see someone who is a younger brother or sister who is in the culture trying to work it out. They're going to make some mistakes along the way because there are enormous pressures on them. But I think where we make the mistake is instantly condemning and being judgmental. Let's give them a break as we wish that people would give us breaks, especially in our youth, and if we had tremendous lights on us, like social media are today.
Yeah, I think we put so much pressure on people right away, right? Like the second we hear that they might have a faith in Jesus, like we're there, we're interviewing them, and we have these huge expectations. And I like what Justin Bieber said, actually. He's like, most of us when we were teenagers maybe made a bad decision or two, but we didn't have cameras following us 24/7, recording it all, right? And thank God that didn't happen in my teenage years. John, don't worry. I'm just saying that,
People are talking, Cheryl.
I mean, we can help them in their journey by loving them and just saying, we're all on a journey and coming alongside like we've seen pastors do.
And I'm old enough to remember that in Christian television and talk shows, we were guilty, some of us, in those earlier years in the formation, that when celebrities of that era made professions of faith, perhaps we rushed them too soon. And we've learned some things in all.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. We put a lot of pressure on these kids, and I think we need to pray for these guys more than anything. A lot of these people like Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, or Miley Cyrus, they all had Christian upbringing. And the verse that kind of came to me all day as I was preparing for today was, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're older, they won't depart from it. Doesn't mean they're going to be perfect along the way, but instead of judging, let's continue praying. Imagine if these kids get on fire for God, what they could,
right,
they could do.
On that same note, they have this unbelievable platform where they can touch so many kids' lives and make such an impact. And I think that they need to realize how big of a platform they have and how much of an impact they can
I think that leads to my next question, Tanner, and maybe you can lead that off. How do we then reach the next generation for Christ? I mean, we're looking at 10,000 more shows, and we're looking at a younger audience as well. We hope so. I won't be here probably, I'll probably be moved on. But how do we look at the next generation? How do we reach that next generation? Because you're the youngest out of all of us.
Thanks.
Well,
yeah, right.
Joe, like as he said, how old are you, Joe?
13.
Tanner, please go ahead.
Well, I think one of the things that is really great about this generation is that there is social media. And so we have this unbelievable platform that we can reach kids. But I think that it's so important that not only do we talk the talk, but we walk the walk, right? So that we're not being hypocritical in our actions, so that we can really encourage kids through both our words and our actions.
So, Joe, when you do a lot of speaking, and a lot of speaking engagements, and you speak to different age groups. What are you seeing? What do young people, not even young people, just people that are searching, what are they hungry for?
Truth. Truth, plain old truth, but in an earnest way, in an honest way. Do it with integrity. Don't be ashamed of the truth. Don't do it in a judgy way. Do it in love, but always tell the truth. And I find that people really respond to that.
And something that's real, right? Like, I think people don't want to be snow. They can see a marketing campaign 100 miles away, even if you're marketing Jesus, You have to be authentic, I think, and you have to present the thing that is real about your life, about your relationship with him. And I think that always moves people. Good story, right? That's what we do here at Huntley Street, telling good stories.
Every day.
And never forget that grace is at the heart of our faith. I mean, Jesus knew what he was getting himself into when he invited us into this relationship. And sometimes we ought to have more grace with the generation that grew up in this crazy culture we're living in. We need to be a part of the solution, not the problem. And it begins with grace.
That's right.
Yeah, I
Love
think
that.
seeing people through the eyes of Jesus, which really is compassion, that's the gold standard for us. Just see people as Jesus sees people. And if we can do that and leave our own biases and our own brokenness and our own judgmentalism and cynicism and our own sin behind, but just see people as Christ sees people, I think we'd be in a whole lot better shape.
This is a good conversation.